आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़ आपकी आवाज़, विज्ञान की आवाज़, की आवाज़।
Celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we bring you a podcast series on STEM popularization, science, technology, engineering, mathematics and medicine, supported and catalyzed by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, Government of India. This program is produced by Media for Community Foundation. Creative content and technical support is given by Purvasha Banerjee and Shushanto Das.
एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़ आपकी आवाज़, विज्ञान की आवाज़, की आवाज़, की आवाज़।
Indian Statistical Institute is a public university which is recognized as an institute of national importance. It grew out of the statistical laboratory set up by Prashanta Chandra Mohananobish in Presidency College, Kolkata. Established in 1931, this unique institution of India is one of the oldest institutions focused on statistics. Primary activities of ISI are research and training of statistics, development of theoretical statistics, and its applications in various natural and social sciences. We welcome Dr. Amartya Dutta in this podcast, who is a mathematician at Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. Sir will be sharing his experience of working in the interface of algebra and geometry and various aspects of ancient Indian mathematics.
I am Amartya Dutta from Indian Statistical Institute. I am in ISI as a mathematician. My main work is to make progress in my area, which is algebra, which is on the interface of algebra and geometry. However, for various reasons which I am getting into, I've also got into highlighting the mathematics of ancient India. So there are several reasons. So let me mention one by one. One thing is that being an algebraist and being involved in frontiers or high-level algebra, I can see ancient Indian mathematics in a new light, which dedicated researchers of past centuries, like let us say Vibhushan Dutta even, would not have had access to. Let me give a specific example. Indians had done division by zero. And now in the school curriculum, division by zero is forbidden. There is nothing wrong in having a convention that let us keep division by zero as undefined. However, the impression that has gained ground, even by very good, excellent teachers, they convey at a very formative stage that division by zero is absurd, wrong. Now there is a confusion here. Division by zero is not absurd for certain reasons, certain mathematical reasons. It would be safe to adopt a convention that we are not going to divide by zero. But a culture could have had a different convention. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, in a way, in higher mathematics, division by zero is performed. And the Indian mathematicians like Brahmagupta and Bhaskaracharya, who have been criticized even by unbiased scholars for their division by zero, whatever they did analogues of that are done in higher mathematics. I've demonstrated all this. There is a series of articles of mine on mathematics in ancient India in an excellent mathematics magazine called Bhavna. And in one of the issues, I have spent on this zero-divided numbers in Indian mathematics. So this is one aspect that where even unbiased scholars have misinterpreted a concept, that is, a certain concept has been called to be erroneous, which it is not so, or it is actually something brilliant. So this is one thing. And naturally, this has the social aspect, because this division by zero, that it cannot be done. This is so widespread that even, if you permit me a bit frivolity, that it is included in the list of Rajinikanth jokes, that among the impossible things that he can perform, Rajinikanth can divide by zero. So it is thought to be so absurd. But at least Brahmagupta and Bhaskaracharya did divide by zero, and their work has to be praised the way they did. And then if this is not told to people, then when they come across such things, they would think of the great mathematicians in a poor light, which is wrong. This is one thing. The other thing is that there are many fundamental ideas in modern mathematics and even computer science, which are embedded in the work which the Indians had done. So if it is brought out, then the advantage is that people who are reading it, they can have an early exposure to useful concepts. For example, in computer science, there is something called a divide and conquer strategy, where you break up a problem into simpler problems, keep on reducing it to a point where it can be solved easily, and then work backwards. And that is exactly what Pingalacharya had done way back in 300 BC or maybe even earlier, and then Aryabhatta had done in 500 AD. Of course, there is no time to get into the details, but just to give you an idea. So suppose you want to calculate what is 2 to the power 11. So for that, Pingalacharya uses a technique of squaring and doubling. So what he does is that he does 2 to the power 5, and then he would square and double. So for that, reduce it further. So this is explained in detail in my article. So this is one part. The another thing which prompted me to go is that there is a lack of awareness among students, general scholars, and even among mathematicians about the history of Indian mathematics, the rich history of Indian mathematics. And there is somehow an environment has been created where scholarship about other civilizations, like let us say Greek or Babylonian, Chinese, Egyptian, that is called scholarship, and knowledge about Indians is perceived as jingoism, with the result there is as if a cultivated ignorance about Indian mathematics. So that has to be broken. Somebody has to take the initiative. And to quote my great teacher in TIFR, late Professor Amit Roy, who said it in a different context, if several people whisper, then one person does not have to scream. But since people are not whispering about Indian mathematics, at least the mathematical community, I don't see them whispering, so I have to scream. So I have already given examples, but just to reiterate that many times the facts are brought out, but there are algebraic insights involved in Indian works. For example, the decimal system or the Indian works in arithmetic, that involves algebraic insights which are not brought about in the standard history texts, in the standard books on good books on history of mathematics. So this is something which I have brought out, and one can see it in my Bhavna article. Brahmagupta's composition laws. Now this composition is the quintessence of modern abstract algebra, which pervades much of modern mathematics, and it is absolutely fundamental in algebra and number theory. And it is amazing that this concept occurs in Brahmagupta in early 7th century. In standard history of mathematics, this is just presented as one result. I mean, that composition law, the magnificence of it, that had not been brought out earlier, and I've been doing it for quite a long time. And in fact, because of my efforts, the journal, the magazine which I was referring to has been named Bhavna. Bhavna is a reference to the composition laws of Brahmagupta. There is another point which I would like to make, is there is a lot of confusion about the mathematical achievement of the Vedic period. And this confusion is partly occurring because in the market there is a book called Vedic Mathematics, which has nothing to do with the mathematics of the Vedic time. It is about some calculation tricks. I'm not at all talking either for or against the book. But the point is that the mathematics of the Vedic period, there is much sophistication there, because the kind of constructions, people keep on talking about Pythagoras theorem, which is of course there in the mathematics of the Vedic period, but more than that, the way they apply Pythagoras theorem, there is a certain geometric algebra which comes out. And it is very touching that somebody who is not a mathematician and or a historian of mathematics and a very busy man, I am referring to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He has made the reference to geometric algebra in the Vedic in Vedic literature in his book Discovery of India, and he makes statements to the effect that the origins of geometry, arithmetic, and algebra in India go back to remote periods. Probably to begin with, there was some kind of geometrical algebra used for making figures for Vedic altars. All this occurred in Discovery of India. And in mathematics, the ancient Indians made some epoch-making discoveries like zero sign, decimal system, minus sign, use of algebra of letters of the alphabet to denote unknown. Then there's always a big, etc. And then he again says, but it is clear that the beginnings of arithmetic, algebra and geometry were laid in the earliest period. 10 formed the basis of enumeration in India even at the time of the Rig Veda. The time and number sense of the ancient Indians was extraordinary, etc. So way back in the 40s, he had talked very highly about the mathematics in ancient India, including in the Vedic period. So it is a shame that not only we do not know about such things now, which Pandit Nehru had not only known but took the trouble of writing it. It is a shame that not only we do not know, but some of us actually deny it. And not only deny, they deride anybody who writes about it. And I'll mention a top name like Professor Amartya Sen. He makes in his book Argumentative Indian and in his interviews, in his address to the Science Congress, everywhere he makes derogatory references to anybody who talks about the mathematics of the Vedic period. And I suppose without his knowing, then he is making derogatory reference to Pandit Nehru as well. This would kind of mislead his students and the people. And so therefore, although this geometric algebra has been talked about by Pandit Nehru himself, elaborated in Vibhuti-Bhushan Datta, but these things have to be again brought into limelight, and I have been doing that. So these are some of the aspects which I've been highlighting. Professor David Mumford, a Fields medalist, has written a cryptic line that I think Brahmagupta is the creator of algebra in the form that we know it. Now, this is a statement which needs an elaboration. So, again, this is something which I have elaborated.
We thank Professor Dutta for sharing his knowledge and experience and enriching us.